Since 1863, thousands of the greatest thoroughbred horses of all time have raced in Saratoga Springs, New York, but only one touched enough hearts to have a street named after him.
Working hard to stay within striking distance. And Fourstardave puts it in another gear around the turn. He's opened up by 2.5 now, and 3 lengths as they come to the top of the stretch. And Fourstardave, Mike Smith riding confidently as they come down to the wire, and then expensive decision, Indian toss, and Kate's Valentine. On the wire, Fourstardave bounds home wire to wire, wins it by 5.5.
He's terrific. He's got a heart as big as the tree. And he tries, and he loves racing, and he loves people. He's a real ham, you know, he loves to get his picture taken. He likes to be on camera, as we all do, probably.
It is now Fourstardave. There it is, Fourstardave Race.
In my career of riding, I rode a lot of good horses. I never saw a horse have a street named after him. Not even after me. I'm very jealous of it.
The horse loves to run, and because his fans love to see him run, and because it makes him feel young, and that's something that we all want to do.
As a 3-year-old, he was pretty popular because he had won a 2 and he won a stake, and probably because Angel Cordero was riding him as a 3-year-old, he was very, very popular.
I'm thrilled. As a horse owner, something like this never happens to anybody. And for it to happen to me is a little bit beyond belief.
We are going to retire a stall at Saratoga today, and the plaque says, "The summer home of Fourstardave, the legend of Saratoga, dedicated August 27th, 1994. Thank you for joining us to salute a really great racehorse."
Fourstardave, he was a very tough horse from the time he was a baby, so we had to geld him. All the reports we got from Florida was that he could run.
He has raced in 5 states and 2 continents during his illustrious career. But Fourstardave cemented his legend among the magnificent beauty and splendor of Saratoga Race Course.
And I have a key to the city, which I will pass over, and it'll open all kinds of doors and hearts in the city of Saratoga Springs. And I have a brief proclamation also from the city. Whereas throughout his distinguished career, Fourstardave has inspired many thousands of people with his extraordinary talent, courage, stamina, and determination to win. And whereas over the years, Fourstardav's appearances at the Saratoga Thoroughbred racetrack have delighted his many local fans, and whereas Fourstardav's natural abilities and personality continue to win him the admiration of racing fans everywhere. Now therefore I, Alameda C. Dake, Mayor of the City of Saratoga Springs, New York, take pleasure in declaring August 27th, 1994, Fourstardave Day in Saratoga Springs.
Probably the single most fortunate thing I did was buying a mare, or filly at the time. She was sort of a ratty-looking thing. And I paid $2,500 for her, and her name was Broadway Joan. She couldn't run. I didn't know what to do with her, and I had bought a piece of a stallion named Compliance. I bred the 2, and out came one of the greatest line of horses in America. He showed a lot right away on the farm. He was something special. As a matter of fact, I bred 4 or 5 horses that year and sold 3 or 4 of them, and we decided to keep Dave. Dave was the best of all of them. And I'll never forget his first race. We were at Belmont, a race which he won. And there was supposed to be a killer in there, a horse that couldn't lose. And everyone on the track was talking about this other horse. Dr. Carrington, I believe his name was, a real speedball, and Dave buried him. He went right by him in a stretch, and then we knew we had someone pretty good.
He amazes me. He just comes back better and better each year. I can't figure it out. It's just, he must have an unbelievable heart. As a 2-year-old, his first run up there was a stake race, and he won that. And every year he returned, actually, he would win in Saratoga.
In America, Saratoga is the feature race meeting. to have Dave win up there my first year, it was a stake race. It was a New York-bred 2-year-old stake race. And it was a muddy, muddy day. I remember when we went to take the picture in the winner's circle, the mud was up to my ankles, but I didn't care. It could have been up to my head, and I wouldn't have cared. I was so happy.
On August 28, 1987, the largely unknown 2-year-old won the Empire Stakes. It was the beginning of an amazing streak.
He was the type of horse that loved people, and the people can come close by and see them, and he can see everything that's going on. And he has a window on the back of his stall too, so he could watch the horses training on the training track. And I think he liked that also. He just kind of seemed to fall in love with the place himself. So each time he would come up there, he gave a much better effort, like, you know. And then the fans become sort of involved, and then the 4th year is even more, and then it kind of gets on a streak, like, you know, and then the 5th and 6th and 7th. God, I thought it would never end. I was hoping it wouldn't.
Like him, it's very hard to explain, because I could spend $5–10 million a year buying horses, and you can't buy a horse like Dave. Like I've said before, you can sit up in the clubhouse of Saratoga and see the most famous people in the world in racing, and every single one of them knew me and knew about Fourstardave, and I think every single one of them would have given anything to have a horse like him. He just comes along once every 100 years.
4 for the first quarter. Fourstardave opens up that lead to 4 lengths. Currently red second.
On July 29, 1991, Fourstardave won the Daryl's Joy Stakes race at Saratoga in the record time of 1 minute 38 4/5 seconds, the fastest 1 1/16 miles ever run at any track on any surface in the history of New York racing.
Fourstardave, who takes the field into the far turn with a 2-length lead.
He seemed to know when the camera was rolling, and he seemed to know when the people wanted to win, and he would give it. Where Fourstardave won on soft ground and sloppy tracks, hard tracks. You know, he won everything. He broke the track record several times.
The hedge now. Then towards the outside, it's Senor Speedy, followed by Currently Red. After that, it's Kate Valentine, Quick Paul, and Who's to Pay? Into the home stretch. 3/4, 9 and 1. Fourstardave still there and still strong in the 8th hole. 5-length lead. Kate Valentine rallies to be second. Who's to Pay is putting in his run on the hedge now and moves through, followed by Horatio Lareau. They are in deep stretch, and it's all Fourstardave.
Well, after he had won the 3rd or 4th year, I don't recall, I went to the track publicity department and I said, what's the record for winning at a racetrack most years in a row? And nobody knew. They say, oh, maybe a horse won here 2 years in a row or 3 years in a row. We put out a magazine, a horse racing magazine, American Thoroughbred Monthly, so we put him on the cover and we said, Fourstardave, the Sultan of Saratoga. Well, that was it. And then it really picked up and caught on.
And they're rounding the far turn, and it's still Fourstardave, fending off Carterista as they make the approach into the top of the stretch. Rinkadas is running in 3rd position, Flying American is 4th, and Fourstardave turns for home, and he's pulling away. Fourstardave in front by 3, and Fleck will try to mount a late challenge. Fourstardave a furlong from victory 7 years in a row. On the outside, Fleck is running second. They're coming down to the line. Fourstardave, a living Saratoga legend, and he wins by 2.
In terms of his class, he was just a horse that probably outran his breeding.
It's been a real privilege being involved with Fourstardave. He has all the great qualities you look for in a good person. He's honest, he works hard, he gives you his best every time, and I truly love Fourstardave. I'd like to thank the Bomzes, the Connaughtons, and the O'Briens for letting me be involved with a horse's name who's become synonymous with Saratoga. And thank you, the fans. It's great to see everybody with all this outpouring of affection for Fourstardave.
The name developed from an employee that I had working here, a fellow named Dave. when he would like a ball game a lot. He'd say, oh, that's a 4-star game. So I came up with Fourstardave.
When he was 8 years old and making his 80th start, Dave delivered a smashing performance in the 1993 Poker Stakes at Belmont Park, setting a new stakes record of 1 minute 33 seconds flat for the 1 mile race. It was the second time he won the event, and he broke his own stakes record in the process.
Continuing their run onto the backstretch, and the two-way battle for that early lead. Down towards the inside, Fourstardave short lead. Larry Trumpets has moved up and taken over second. 3 to Maxi Groom. Back and forth is left. Running along nicely in 5th now is Adam Smith. Then the Gray, Scott the Great in 5. Back to Maxi Groom, still trailing in 7th.
Dave is a miracle. He's like a miracle horse. Dave would be a 56-year-old human athlete, and he's running against high school and college athletes.
Coming down to the final furlong, Fourstardave is hanging tough with the lead. Adam Smith driving hard, left next and third, and Scott the Great 50 yards from the line. Fourstardave will win it. Adam Smith will be second and left.
We have a thing called bee pollen that he seems to love now. I don't know what it does, but I'm going to take some myself.
There was one race in year 7, I believe, of the winning streak, where Dave fell to his knees, was literally on the ground, and was dead last, 10 lengths behind everyone else in the race.
I never want to be beat. Always want to win.
Social Retiree has moved into second. Majesty's Time is now third. On the outside, Fourstardave has recovered from that very clumsy beginning and is now running fourth on the outside.
It was almost a fate kind of situation where, you know, he was just going to finish first, and that was going to be it. That there was nothing in that was going to stop him. no act of God, nature, or a starting gate for that matter that was going to stop him from winning. And that too, of course, lent great credibility and to the story of the horse.
Fourstardave has moved into second now, and just to his inside is the favorite Social Retiree. The half one in 47-1. They're less than a half mile out. JG is still the leader. Fourstardave is second. Social Retiree on the inside third. Turtle Beach is moving into contention right there now. And then it's Wild Cataract, followed by Majesty's Time and Excellent Tipper. They're moving toward the top of the stretch. JG still holding on short lead. Fourstardave is right there with them. Turtle Beach on the outside. Wild Cataract, Social Retiree in behind horses. They're at the top of the stretch now. JG, Fourstardave making a final try for the lead now. Social Retiree crying out for running room. On the far outside, it's Wild Cataract. Excellent Tipper is coming on. Down on the inside, it's Majesty's Time. Wild finish coming here. Fourstardave leading the charge to the wire. Here's Excellent Tipper and Majesty's Time. Fourstardave, and the beat goes on. The old boy did it again.
Anyone who was there knows they witnessed one of the most amazing, courageous performances ever. He simply would not give up. His will carried him across the wire first. After a controversial steward's inquiry, Fourstardave was disqualified and knocked down to 5th place for a bumping incident in the stretch. They could take away the victory, but they could not take away the accomplishment. The crowd of over 35,000 attended one of the great individual efforts in Saratoga racing.
And he knew when he won. He knew all the time that he would win. And one year in Saratoga he won, he was taken down for a small incident going by a horse. And we continued to, like, you know, pet him and cheer him and, like, you know, let him know he won anyway, like, you know. And I don't think he really realizes he got disqualified.
Fourstardave is such a wonderful story. You'd love to see him win. He's a commoner in a game of royalty. He wasn't bred to any kind of regal connections in Kentucky. He was bred right here in New York State. That's why they love him so much.
He's standing with Fourstardav's connections, the owner, Richard Bomze, and his family, and his trainer, Leo O'Brien, and really kind of a John Henry Peoples kind of horse. And you told me he expects to win here, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He thinks when he's in Saratoga, this is where everybody lets him win, but it's not that easy. There's quite a few nice young horses in here. He thinks he's a 3-year-old again when he gets to Saratoga, And actually, we believe and expect him to win also.
Here's a horse that has a fan club, a key to the city. He goes to parties. An interesting way that you look at him. He looks at the crowd, and then you know he thinks he's going to win?
Yes, when he comes out and he stops and looks into the stand and looks at the crowd, then we know he's going to run really, really good that day. Good. And he did that today.
Fourstardave has become something of a tradition himself here at Saratoga. For 7 consecutive years, he has won a stakes race. And today, at the age of 9, a tremendous crowd favorite. Just as an example of that, a year ago in the West Point, literally knocked to his knees coming out of the gate. He made up 15 lengths to win the race, ostensibly, then was disqualified. But as one, the crowd stood up and cheered Fourstardave, and they love him here at Saratoga. And he can run either from the front or he can run from behind. It doesn't matter to this horse. He seems to be able to confound everybody with his running style. You never know what he's going to do.
Winning 8 years in a row is a virtual impossibility. I mean, 7 was over the top. The 8th was really pushing it. There was a couple of tough horses in it, and the pressure was really on. There was a huge crowd at the racetrack that day, and Dave was doing quite well training-wise. He took an early lead going into the turn, and he kept widening the lead, and Tom Durkin, the track announcer, he started playing it up. And the whole length of the stretch, all he did was call Dave.
Fourstardave is poised in 3rd position. He's only a length and a half from the lead. And now Migliore makes his move with the old boy. There goes Fourstardave, and he sweeps to a short lead as the field turns for home. They're at the top of the stretch. Fourstardave coming a bit wide. Final Sunrise is there. Landep is in between him, and Fourstardave is one furlong away from 8 years worth of Saratoga victories. Here's the old boy coming down to the line. He's making a runaway of it. The legend moves on. Fourstardave wins again at the Spa. And a pan-pan victory from Richard Migliore. The old boy did it again. For the record, Dignitas was second. Good luck,
All right, Tom. Well, as you said, there's life in the old boy yet. That at the age of 9. Fourstardave deserves a fan club.
I'll never forget the roar that crowd gave last year when Fourstardave made that move on the turn. I mean, goose pimple time. And that roof of that 125-year-old racetrack just came charging up. It was a wonderful, wonderful thrill. Maybe the thrill of my race calling life, and it was just a pleasure to be around.
Dave performed like the crowd wanted him to. You know, I think he sort of sensed that, you know, maybe, I got to do it. The meeting's ending, and this is important because the paddock was loaded that day. I remember, and there must have been 5,000 people at the paddock that day just to look at him. So that was really a crowning. It was a heck of an achievement. Yeah.
At Saratoga, I'm literally in with the crowd. I'm right there. I'm only about 30 feet from the racetrack itself. And I can hear the response of those big crowds that they get there at Saratoga. When Fourstardave would run, especially in some of those bigger races, I can hear the crowd reacting to things that I say about the progress of that horse during the race. And to me, that was really one of the great thrills, one of the great sounds I've ever heard at Saratoga was that roar when he came rocketing at the top of the stretch there to win in that 8th year. There was a huge, huge roar coming from the crowd, and it really sends the announcer into another level. You can play off the crowd there at Saratoga. So calling the races at Saratoga is a great experience to begin with, but being able to call them with an event like that when Fourstardave was running is that much more special.
When Dave was injured, he broke a leg.
And he was in front of the 2 best horses in America, and he was 3 lengths in front of them. He was going to beat them.
Against Lure and Paradise Creek, the 2 best grass horses in the country, and Dave was beating him at the top of the stretch.
And he stepped in a hole, and he fractured a cannonball, and he still hung on without even getting ridden to be 3rd in the race. So that was a great. He just done that in his heart alone. He never wanted to be beat.
And it's Fourstardave, the leader down the back stretch by a half length. Lure is just off his flank. Paradise Creek, a menacing presence, just off the lead on the outside. Then toward the inside, Astudillo, and farther back, Binary Light. The field hits the far turn, and it's still Fourstardave holding on to the lead. But Lure's been in no hurry to go by. But the cadence is quickening now as they approach the top of the stretch. Paradise Creek poised and powerful on the outside third, and they're coming to the top of the stretch now, and Lure will have to tussle with the Saratoga legend Fourstardave. Paradise Creek is in full flight on the outside, coming to mid-stretch. Fourstardave digs down. Lure too much has ahead in front. Paradise Creek is full tilt down the center of the course. Lure, Mike Smith asking him for everything he has, and he's giving it to him. Lure holding on to defeat his arch rival, Paradise Creek. Fourstardave was third.
We had to lay Dave up, and they made a get well card. It was made out of wood, 12 feet high, and there were 5,000 signatures on it. And it was in the paddock in Saratoga, and everybody signed it.
You'll be glad to hear that we got the finest surgeon in the world to fly in from Lexington. He operated on Fourstardav's leg, put 3 screws in it. He's 95% sure to come back next year.
I drove up here from Wilmington, Delaware this morning. We left at 4:30 to get here for the ceremony. I wouldn't miss it. I was at the race last year when he went to his knees and then won and then was disqualified. And that, too, was really emotional. You know, the whole crowd was behind him, you know, saying things like, leave Dave alone. And, you know, it was just, again, the horse inspires so much love that, you know, he's just wonderful. He's really great for racing.
The members of the New York Thoroughbred breeders would like to congratulate and honor one of the greatest New York-breds ever to race, Fourstardave. Let me give you a few statistics on Fourstardave, a horse that we're very proud of, New York breeding program. He's made over 95 career starts so far, career earnings over $1.6 million. Here at Saratoga, he started 15 times, 9 wins, 3 seconds, 1/3, earnings over $450,000 and counting. And we look for him to be back next year, a great tribute to the New York breeding program.
Thanks,
At the time, they were giving 50% of what the purse was in special awards, which are not included in the purse. And then I got Breeders' Awards because I bred him, and I got Stallion Awards because I own his father. So I would say, all in all, Dave earned about $3 million the hard way, grinding it out and grinding it out, not these special $5 million bonuses and these $1 million bonuses. Dave did it the hard way, running 100 times and winning 20 races and running second and third another 20 or 30 times. So it was a long, drawn-out, marvelous process.
But he's been probably the best horse I've ever had, longevity, and he's bought my house in a sense. He put the kids through school, through college, you know, and still paying off my bills. He was a little bit afraid, I'd say, to put out 100% because we had a screw in his leg, and I think when he would try really hard, it would maybe hurt him a little bit. So he was inclined to not maybe give 101%. That he was saving himself a little bit.
Fourstardave did race again, but after the injury, he was not able to return to his former glory. He retired soon after. The following year, the New York Racing Association officially changed the name of the Daryl's Joy to the Fourstardave.
You know, just to win a race is really, really hard to do. If you're an owner and you have a horse that wins, you're lucky. You're a little lucky just to get that horse to the races. You're very lucky if that horse wins. You're extremely lucky if you win at Saratoga. But if you win at Saratoga for 8 years in a row, it's absolutely absurd. It's beyond the realm of normal comprehension, framed in the horse racing business. So it was an unbelievable accomplishment.
Nobody has ever had a horse to win at Saratoga 8 years in a row, and nobody ever will. It's like Joe DiMaggio hitting in 56 straight games. It just won't happen again.
Fourstardave wasn't bred to be something great or extra special. but he overcame those limitations to do something extraordinary at Saratoga. His winning streak stands alone as one of the major accomplishments in the history of the sport.